Dollar bets, dollar bets, dollar bets, dollar bets. What up, everybody? I am O. With me, as always, is the great Z.
The great Z. I lost every bet to you, and I still give you the great Z. Awesome. How are you doing,
buddy?
All right. I'm good. I'm losing. I'm hemorrhaging money to you. And I know who else is hemorrhaging money? The Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings, yes.
Our mutual
lead story. We got huge news out of the NFL. Justin Jefferson.
Did you say Dustin?
Arguably the best wide receiver currently in the game.
He's pretty damn good.
Pretty damn good. He's getting some pretty damn good money right now.
Yeah, do you remember the I do. I'm just wondering if you remember the number.
Rather than me think about it, why don't you just tell us?
It's like, well, more than we're getting for our show so far. 4 years and 140, I believe, was the number. So that's after his other contract is done, right? Or is it like cancel out the previous contract? I don't know how that works.
It's
so that's $32.5 million, right?
Yeah, it's an extension.
No, that's more than no, that's shit. God damn it, math. 30.
Oh my God, the swear word's coming out of Z's mouth right now.
$35 million a year.
I hope the FCC is not listening to us right
now. That's like making Prince money, man. In Minnesota, like what the fuck, Prince? Do you think
game blouses?
If you just drafted a little used U of M quarterback who's proven nothing, would you spend all that money on a receiver that was going to leave and you could have got a lot for? And do you really think one player making that much money that doesn't throw the ball or protect the guy that throws the ball or sack the guy that has the ball? Do you think that's a good use of resources for a team that sucks?
This was the conversation that you and me had on the phone earlier. What position outside of quarterback should be the next highest paid position in general? And we said that it would be one of three: wide receiver, a blindside tackle, or edge rusher.
Yeah,
right?
Or the Aaron Donald equivalent of an edge rusher, if you know.
Right.
Yeah, the defensive lineman. Yeah.
I think you said amongst those three, which one did you say would be your number one?
I would say edge, and I'm prepared to defend it.
Okay. Well, I will give you the chance to defend that in a second.
Yes.
But I will say, after thinking about it, I would say wide receiver should be the next highest. In today's NFL, with the way that it is so geared towards offenses and moving the ball, you need that big play wide receiver. You need that guy who can go and get you chunks and can get you touchdowns. That is going to be the next biggest difference maker in a game outside of quarterback. The best wide receivers, they're getting 10, sometimes more receptions in a game. Your best edge rusher is not getting 10 sacks in a game. He's, and obviously it's not just sacks, it's pressures too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's more opportunities for a wide receiver to make big plays, game-changing plays than there are for the edge rusher. So for me, wide receiver can be getting number 2 money.
Oh, yeah.
But I will allow you to rebut.
All right. First off, I don't know his contract number, but I think it's on the medium high side. DJ Moore, the rookie Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen together are making at most 25-30% more than Jefferson's going to be making a year. That's 3 receivers. 3! And you know what? We have 3 guys that make that much versus 1 guy making almost that much. You have room for the guy that matters the most, which is the guy fucking throwing the ball. Like, that's great. You can have a nice high-priced Ferrari base, and then you have a Civic engine. 1997 Honda Civic engine is what J.J. McCarthy's going to be. And then here's another point. The receivers are great, but you need the infrastructure to use them properly. And I'd rather have 2 really good ones than one like amazing one that could get hurt, and then you have no one else. Or he's great, but he can climb the ladder, and then he has no one to throw it to. By the time he get them someone to throw him from the dang ball, his contract's up, or he's hurt, or So it's just timing is everything in football, and I just think that those defensive tackles and are like Donald and some of these other guys, a Lawrence Taylor type edge rusher, and the modern equivalents. I mean, there's no true equivalent of that guy. He was high on crack the whole time. So like it was just like fun fact. I had a cousin. It was like a second cousin or something. And part of his job as a New Jersey State Trooper was to check on Lawrence Taylor. I'm not even joking. He like moonlighted as doing that. I'm not even joking. So yeah. Like, where is this crack guy now? Anyways, Lawrence Taylor's gonna come sack us. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So here. So I'm gonna counter your point of that you definitely need a super high end receiver, because the guys that made the biggest plays for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, it was not even Kelsey. And in the AFC Championship game, to put the game away, it was Valdez-Scantling, who is not particularly high. He makes high-end plays occasionally, but it's just like there's just like such a variance in his quality of plays. And so the key there is that you had good defensive line, really good defensive line, actually. The Chiefs and 49ers both had good defensive line. That was a low-scoring game. And the Chiefs just had the better quarterback, obviously. Mahomes over a second-year Purdy, right? So second or third year, I forget. He seems like he's been there forever already. So anyways, I would say you really need those. If you're going to choose, you still choose the bookend defensive lineman, because they make an immediate difference. Like this is again a low end example, sort of, because it was the Bears, but of last year, Montez Sweat changed that defense immediately, and they were in almost every game after his arrival, and that was even when they had like Division IX quarterback filling in for Fields, and they were still in the games except for one of them. And it's like, I'm quarterback. Yeah, we both agreed that both of us agree that quarterback. I mean, if you're going to start a team, you build it around a quarterback. So yeah, but second, I'm taking the edge rushers, primarily because there's two of them versus you need 3 to 4 receivers. So you could have one great one. You could double team the guy. If you have a bunch of bums on the other hash marks, that's not going to do anything. Yeah. That noise is the cat disagreeing with me. She's like, we will. She's like, I love wide receivers.
Probably talked about not having a very strong roster. Obviously, the rookie quarterback thing, but you can't punish Jefferson for that. He's he's wide receiver 1.
He wasn't last year. He was hurt for 2/3 of the year.
He was going to reset that market.
Why? He was hurt. Let someone else pay him. Like, that's all. You're building a team, not building like a guy. And so they spent a first round pick on a guy that didn't do first round things with his arm in the NFL or in college football. I almost said basketball. Oh, that frosty I ate is just like sticking to me. By the way, we'll take your money, Wendy's.
Stay focused.
Stay focused. Okay, I'm good. But like, I think the only team that did something even dumber than the Vikings have done was Atlanta. Yeah. But here's the thing, like, okay, so was Jefferson going to be playing on his last year of his contract this year? You know how much capital you could have got for, say, Minnesota starts off 2-6, which they probably will, and then there's the trade deadline coming up. Like, I could think of 5 to 10 teams, basically every team that's not Chicago right now, that would need a receiver. No, but that would need a receiver, and they could get a couple picks, and some other players. So instead, they're just going to ride a great wide receiver to a max of 7 wins for the next 4 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not rooting for them with their new quarterback.
No, the guy deserved to get paid. The guy deserved to get paid, but like, guess what? Like, this GM, I can't pronounce his name. I don't know it's offhand. It's just he's the Wall Street guy. So he's like, whatever, like Jordan Belfort, motherfucker, like trying to take over a sports thing because he likes sports as a new toy, and they hire this guy, and they keep employing this guy, and he's just making mistake after mistake after mistake, and I love it because I don't like the Vikings, so it's perfect. I had to pretend to like the Vikings because of our cousin's connection with Michigan State. Great dude, pretty damn good quarterback, but I felt so dirty rooting for semi rooting for Washington. I've never liked, and Minnesota that I've never liked, and now it's like Atlanta. I'm like, I can pretend to like Atlanta. That's fine. They're so innocuous. Quick, what's your primary association with the Atlanta Falcons? Yeah, like if I was giving you a Rorschach test, but it was just like a Falcons logo, what would your first thought be? I didn't ask you, Kitty. I did not ask you, Kitty. Pipe down.
Yeah, somebody stupid. Like, I'm still scratching my head on that draft pick, that first round.
28-3 blown Super Bowl lead is what you should think of. That's all they are. That's all they're ever going to be.
I was always against the Pats, so I've kind of blocked that one out mentally.
I know. But I mean, that's what they are. It's just like, oh, you got a nice thing, you're gonna blow it. It's like that movie Swingers when when his friend was like, it's like, you got a phone number? Oh, you gave the Super Bowl? You're just gonna blow it. That's all it is. That's all it ever will be, man. So we can like pretend to root for them, like, yeah, go Cousins, and like. But anyways, back to the Vikings, back to Jefferson. Yes, does he deserve that money? First question.
You know who else deserves the money?
Us.
Well, us in general, but more specifically, me. Let's do some accounting, Z.
Okay, all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got 3 bets that we're going to be settling up, and only one of us is opening up their Venmo right now.
No, we both are because I have to send them.
Yeah. I'm not pressing any buttons.
Oh, true. It's just coming through for you.
The first bet that we had,
okay.
From the NHL playoffs, we had predicted who the final matchup was going to be.
Yeah.
You had predicted it would be Rangers and Oilers. I had Panthers and Oilers. And after some pretty entertaining conference finals, wins.
Yep.
So I'm actually doing you a favor, though, real quick, before you send that one. We kind of had a related bet. When the East Finals was tied at 2-2,
yeah,
we bet the outcome of Game 5.
Correct.
You, of course, went with the Rangers.
Correct.
I went with the Panthers. And wins that one as well. I will save you the trouble, and I will let you pay me $2 at once.
No, I'm going to do 3 separate dollars. I've already started. The process has begun.
All right.
The bloodletting has begun.
And while you're doing your process, then I'll just keep talking.
Keep talking.
The third bet that we had from the NBA playoffs, the fifth and ultimately deciding game of the Minnesota-Dallas series, you thought Minnesota was going to force a Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because you thought that they would win at least one of their 3 home games in that series. I thought Dallas was going to get the knockout punch. Dallas got the knockout punch.
Page it.
Wins. Yet another bet. Is riding the hot streak.
You won like 6 in a row, right?
It's 6 or 7, yeah. This is unprecedented. I'm used to, over the years, you generally winning more of these bets. But
yes.
I am definitely in cruise control right now.
Well, the key part of this streak is that I only bet on 1 or 2 of those myself. So it's like, I did it for the show.
But if that makes you feel better about yourself.
Oh, it does. It does.
All right, I'm going to open up my Venmo and see if you got any witty reasons for sending me money.
No.
But let's, while I'm doing that, let's move on to the next big topic that we need to discuss.
Perfect.
I was wrong again. I am always wrong. Fantastic, Z.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, O.
We are on to, and then there was two.
Yes, for both hockey and basketball. I'm particularly more, although I really want Canada to win something. I I am more interested in basketball, so I think we should start with the hockey and just blabber stuff for approximately 90 seconds about hockey that we haven't watched. Or you've watched some, so you probably know a little bit more than me. I'm taking the Oilers. I'm definitely taking the Oilers. If they're
I'm taking the Oilers.
okay.
I'm taking Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid is about to claim the throne, make it official. He's probably already been on that throne. He's finally had some teammates coming up around him to raise the team up, but Connor McDavid is about to make it official that he is the best, that his team is the best.
Yes.
And
Edmonton don't sleep.
Edmonton in 6.
Edmonton in 6? Yeah, that sounds about right.
They are the road team, which means that Game 6 would be a home game for them.
Correct.
Go Canada.
Oh, Canada. It's been 34 years for Edmonton.
Yes, their last championship was the 89-90 season.
Correct.
Canada's last team was the Montreal Canadiens in 93.
Yeah, 92-93 season, right?
92-93 season.
And in between, okay, quick.
They beat the LA Kings that year.
Yes.
Gretzky.
Fun trivia question for you, unless you already got the page open. Which team went back to back between those two Canadian teams?
Well, Pittsburgh won it 91-92.
Correct.
The Red Wings went back to back in 97-98.
Well, that's nice, but that was not the question.
What was your question?
It was which team went back to back between those two Canadian performances.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I got it.
Well, you sort of did. You said Pittsburgh won one of them, but Pittsburgh won both. They beat.
What do you have on these finals?
They beat the Blackhawks and the Kings. What's that?
What thoughts would you like to?
I mean, I do. I mean, McDavid's the only name I know on either team because, again, I watch. I mean, unless our show picks up more and we start raking in the dough and I get to watch more sports ball, like I'm gonna pick and choose, and I'm not gonna watch sports puck unless like I have a stake in it, right? And the Blackhawks have been horseshit, but it's okay because it's like when you used to be awesome and then you put on a few pounds, you're like, yeah, but I was cut once, it's like I was good, I was hot. And that's what the Blackhawks were. They were cut, man. They had a cut figure. They were hot, and they won 3 in 6 years. That's for hockey. That's ridiculous. Because of all the playoff sports that have playoffs. Not talking about you, most soccer leagues. They actually it's really fucking hard to win in hockey because it's 4 rounds of playoffs of 7 games. It's very physical. You're on the ice for 70 to 100 seconds at a time. It's
no, nobody's playing that long of a shift. But also, yes, they don't call it the hardest trophy to win in all of professional sports for nothing.
People don't play shifts for a minute and 15 seconds.
No, shift is generally about 45 seconds to a minute.
Oh, are you watching with your stopwatch?
I mean, I grew up playing hockey. I know the game.
Well, I'm not talking about suburban Detroit Pee-wee size just slamming that ice for 40 seconds. Like, Dad, I need a break.
Yeah, if you are getting stuck out there more than 60 seconds, that means that the other team has got you guys pinned in your defensive zone and you can't get out for a change.
Okay, so that's not really that's not even really the average. So that's like the higher end. Okay. Because in a penalty shift on offense, there'd be 2 to 3 wings or 2 to 3 lines going at it on the penalty. Because you often have breaks during the penalty too. So, well,
yeah, I mean, generally teams have 2 penalty killing lines if they'll rotate. So everyone starts, then they'll switch after about 40, 45 seconds, and then maybe that first line will have to come back on at the end of it.
Okay. Man, you'd be sleeping on me with this hockey knowledge, considering the Red Wings have been dog shit for 20 years.
Dude, you got
15 years. 15 years.
You know, I know we give more attention to the NBA. The NHL, especially the playoffs, it really is more entertaining. The games just flow better in general.
But yeah, but you can't see the puck on TV.
There's fucking checking and fighting and, you know.
I mean, I guess fighting's cool.
People bleed. It's wonderful.
Is that why you watch UFC?
Yeah, I definitely have an appreciation for the barbarianism of it, but I also really appreciate the sportsmanship in it. Like, these people will punch each other and kick each other and try to destroy each other for 5 minutes, and a bell rings, and like they immediately stop. They say good job as they walk back to their corners. At the end of fights, they're hugging each other. They're hugging each other's coaches.
They're hugging each other so they can stand up.
It's really quite remarkable. Their training is in martial arts.
Well,
I took martial arts growing up as well.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the psyche of it. Granted, the UFC is not self-defense; it's offense. But still, you have the lessons of martial arts in there, and I see that, and I think it's actually pretty sweet.
So you have like an understanding and yes, also appreciation and a desire for the vicarious bloodletting of the UFC and Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm just picturing you like 12 and like your voice changing earlier than other people, and you just like blasting people in the stomach and karate and giving like kind of like stern warnings. And there was no UFC training schools yet, so you couldn't do it. And then you played hockey, but you could skate, but not good enough. But you would always like be like Happy Gilmore, like, I'm the only one that took a skate off and tried to stab somebody.
Definitely not the enforcer on my hockey team. I was the little guy.
That's funny, man. I think hockey's cool. It's just like it's one of those things that playoff baseball is a little bit like this too, or like a
I wish I had a buzzer right now to sound
about baseball.
Just want to.
Well, no, I mean like a pennant race is interesting or can be interesting, right? It's more interesting than the normal edition of the sport. Like the last couple weeks are more interesting, but that's in most of the sports, right? Where in soccer too, it's like the Premier League or something. There's like 3-4 teams going at it in the top for the top placement and the bottom relegation, or like second league in England, like trying to get promoted. It's exciting, but like for the rest of the teams, it's over. And so I think it's really tough except for the people that just want to watch something with their breakfast vodka at like 7:30 in the morning and gamble on it, like take the over 2.5 goals and just by 10 o'clock you're pissed off. Like I feel like that's a lot of the American soccer fans and we don't have a proper mechanism to really get into club level soccer versus like international thing is great for like 2.5 weeks, and then we lose and America loses, and then the underdog team that we pull for loses, and they're like, oh, okay. And then we forget about it for 2 to 4 years. And it's like, I'm talking about a collective we, not you and me. I mean, if there's an international match and there's any stakes on it, I'm watching, I'm betting. It's fun. It's more fun than other sports because I'm like, yeah, do the thing with the feet, kick it, and you're like, same thing with hockey. I challenge you to bet on something that you don't really understand fully, and it's just so much more fun because you're like everything feels like you don't control it versus like if I'm watching basketball and to an extent football, I'm like, oh, well, that's obvious they would do the fly route here because the zone coverage, blah, 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 throw it over the top, right. And then they don't do that, and you're wrong, and they lose, and you're really upset. Even if you win, you're part of the game, you're upset. Where in the soccer match, you're like, oh, it's 1-0. That was cool, but like I was excited the whole time because I literally have no fucking clue what's going on. And it's great. And hockey's like that also because you find yourself if you're not really if you didn't play it, you soccer and hockey, the terminology, like not the super basics, but like the slightly more in-depth terminology, we're just not going to know it unless you study it, unless you play it. Basketball's probably like that too for people who don't play basketball, and if you don't, I'm sorry, I mean you missed out. Even if you suck, basketball's great. And I don't suck, but like even if you suck, it's great because there's it's a beautiful they call soccer the beautiful game, right? But I feel that way about growing up playing basketball. With soccer and hockey, if you like in hockey, you'd be like, "Oh, cycle the puck," or like I don't know what that means, but I remember screaming that at a sports bar in 2010 when the Blackhawks were on their way to their first title. It was great. It was great, and it's fun. And you know what? I'll get there again. And but part of it is kind of nice where I'm not like there. It was like when the New York Giants made the playoffs. They either won the Super Bowl or they just didn't make the playoffs at all. And the same thing, the Blackhawks, they made the playoffs like I think 5 or 6 times in that time frame, like the year before and after, maybe 8 times I think. And they made the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times, and they won all 3 times. So maximum efficiency, right? Same thing with the Bulls. I've only experienced maximum efficiency for the most part. Like MSU lost the title game in 2009. That sucked, but like, and the NBC playoff spanking from Alabama in 2015 football. But like, aside from that, most of the time my teams go and the Bears Super Bowl. But like, I think I'm batting like 70% on championships for the teams I follow. So it's easier to step away sometimes when they suck and you need to recharge and you're like more interested in the draft. So like a Lions fan for like 45, 60, 70 years, you know?
I'm used to having the draft be my Super Bowl.
Right, right. And it's weird, right? Is it weird?
It was really weird waiting till the 29th pick.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to trade up in the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no chance we were staying put, but it was definitely weird waiting that long.
So, okay, we should close on Jefferson again, like just kind of sandwich it. Do you think that your opinion of the receiver over the say the edge rusher? I mean, I don't think either of us is really wrong because I think we're both kind of in a way right. But it also depends, I think, on the contract of the quarterback and how good they are. Like some type of like formula, right? Like at this point, Mahomes is underpaid, so they could have room for a really good receiver. I mean, Kelsey counts, but as you said, a receiving tight end or a receiver. Oh, that was a nasty frosty burp. Oh my god, I'm sorry, listening audience. That was awful. Ugh, great frosty.
Where did Frosty from?
Wendy's.
All right, let's see if we can get a sponsorship from Wendy's.
Yeah, man. If they can put those guys on the TV with the commercials, then get it for a buck. Get it for those guys. Then we're on our way. But I don't know. 30. It was 35 million. Is that what it came out to? Average and 110 million guaranteed.
Yes.
How many games did he miss last year for a team that went 6-11, 7-10? I think 7-10. It's a lot of games, dude. He missed like 6, 8 games, and then you're giving him money with a new quarterback.
Well, yeah, I mean they're saving money on a new quarterback for 4 years, so they've got that money.
Yeah. You know what else they're gonna save money on? Not having to wash their jerseys in fucking February and January.
All right, let's wrap it up with some bets here.
All right, sounds good.
When you start talking about laundry and utility bills, it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. All right, so our NBA Finals preview for now is just going to be a bet, and I'm making you take Boston.
We're going to discuss it more, but let's maybe just bet on game one.
You're going to take. I want Dallas for the series, but I don't know about game one.
So game one is going to be Thursday night. Dallas at Boston. Obviously, because Boston had a crazy best record. I kind of feel like Dallas has momentum. Obviously, both teams just won their series.
Yeah.
But Dallas has stepped up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have taken out the fourth, first, and third seeded teams. Never have gone past the game 6, and they seem like they're getting better.
That's very like 90s Bulls.
And to be determined how much the Porzingis injury had, but he should be back in some capacity, at least maybe not starting, but should be back for game 1 of this series. They have not looked as good in the playoffs as they did during the regular season.
Well, because they're playing only the teams that were okay enough to make the Eastern playoffs, and they didn't even have to face the Knicks, who were play like brutally hard for 48 minutes, including their whole lineup, their whole starting lineup playing all of the minutes until they all got hurt pretty much. I don't think Boston's been tested by a team that's above average. So the question is, do they come out rock hard in game 1 and just really go for it, or do they get blown off the court?
Well, there's no middle ground there. There's no lose a close game.
I mean, they could lose a close game, but I mean, I have Dallas in 6. I think, but I was leaning on they win games 2, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 3, 5, 6.
Wait, what was your prediction for the series?
Dallas in 6.
Dallas in 6?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my prediction is Boston in 6, but
why don't we just bet on the series?
You want to bet on the series?
I got Dallas, man.
All right, I will take that bet.
Okay, Finals MVP. Who you got?
So, conference finals. Jaylen Brown won the Larry Bird Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Guessing Luka Doncic won the Magic Johnson Trophy. I didn't read that.
All I remember is they took his beer away. Did you hear about that?
But if Boston wins, I'm going to go shades of Golden State's first championship over Cleveland when Andre Iguodala was the MVP. And he was the MVP because he was the one tasked with guarding LeBron.
Yeah.
And obviously did a wonderful job of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that light, my prediction for the Boston Celtics MVP would be Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
For his defensive work on Luka Doncic.
All right, then I'll take Kyrie then, since like Luka is kind of on the same plane as like a Tatum or a Brown for obviousness. I like our dark. I mean, Kyrie is slightly less dark horse because he's Kyrie. But he's really good, obviously. But if you're like an observer, a casual observer, or a more intense observer of the game, you're like, obviously they can only win this series if Luka just averages 35. And like, I actually think that's not true because Kyrie's defense has been better than it ever had been, and he's just creating stuff. And they should actually run a lot through him because Luka's not going to necessarily cycle the ball. It's going to freeze for a little bit. He'll make the good play, but like sometimes you miss out on some opportunities for maybe a backdoor layup or a quick, secondary pass to the corner for 3 or, stuff like that, where if you run through things through Kyrie, he's a freaking point guard. Luka's a point forward, right? So it's like, I mean, half court, you still get a guy that's really used to the ball in his hands. And it's incredible how they've made this work with 2 guys that need the ball. Because, I mean, I think the only other time I can remember that working in a title run, assuming they win the title, it would be Durant's Warriors, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you had a couple guys that needed the rock, but you had like you need a basketball savant like Draymond that doesn't need the accolades. It just wants to win and rip your throat out, or maybe stomp on it. Let's just kind of go for it. Do you recall? Like, I mean, I wouldn't put Pippen as a guy that needed the ball. He wanted the ball, but he didn't like need it like Jordan did. As like a second guy, I mean, it's tough to say, right? Middleton. I mean, Not really. So, I mean, that's just recent. So, anyways, hey, audience, we have some challenges for you, some requests. Email us. What's the email address, sir? You can email us at, what was his name? Damon Brunson at hotmail.com. Damon Brunson Sports Picks at hotmail.com for your hot sports picks and tips.
Kevin Brunson.
It's Kevin Brunson?
Yeah, that was the UFC fighter.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that I remembered, I was putting you on the spot because my frosty brain is like rotting away. But I did remember the email address is not Kevin Brunson at hotmail.com for hot sports and tips. It is dollar bets, and it's DOLLARBETZ for Z at gmail.com. That's dollarbetsshow@gmail.com. And what is the name of O's blog, you ask?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I forget altogether. O has recently started a new blog that is called O for 4, and that is spelled OFOR, the number 4 blog.com. O44blog.com.
Nice.
It is me ranting on 4 different topics a week from across the spectrum of sports. And yeah, I'm actually gonna, as soon as we say cut here, I'm gonna go back to working on that so I can get another one out for you guys tomorrow night.
Yeah?
But yeah, real quick, let's just summarize the bets.
Yes.
Z is betting on Dallas to win the series. O's got Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We are putting a little prop bet on MVP. You're going to say Kyrie Irving. I'm going to go with Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Just for the hell of it, if Boston wins, who's MVP?
If Boston wins, I really like your Holiday. That's who should be. Like, if they do win, I really feel like that's how they would win, is with their defending the two guards. However, I do think that their coach can't do it. At least not yet. I think he's still cutting his teeth. It's his second year, and I mean, I'd go with Brown. I think he's just tougher than Tatum. Tatum has the best. Tatum has the best like overall skill set and game, but I think Brown's got more to prove, because there were some people that are like, they gave him that much money, and he's like, yeah, big motherfucker, like, I got you. Yeah.
And then for argument's sake, if Dallas wins, I will just go with the obvious answer and say that it'll be Doncic as MVP.
Yes, but obviously we didn't bet on Jalen
Not
or
betting
opposite.
that. Just
opposite MVP bet.
So
yeah.
So we can talk about it later. All right, I think that's a wrap.
Cut.